the line items.
The line item professional services is $1,830,000, and if you go to go 1, 2, 3 pages down, you can see all that makes it up. In there is the region. There's $515 for special ed services to professionals. There's $878 is the payment that were assessed to the region. There's a little small one for workshops. The audit's in there. The lawyer services are in there, and you can see right down the line what athletic officials are in there. The East Bay Educational Collaborative fees are there. So that's what makes up the $1,000,008. It's a huge percentage increase, but it's not. It's moved from a different number in a category that has a larger base, so the percentage reduction is going to be a lot smaller than the percentage increase.
Okay. I'll move on to a couple other quick questions. Why are we contracting out nursing services? We are condensing nursing.
We're contracting out for students with IEPs that require dedicated nursing services. So we do have some students who have a nurse assigned solely to them, and that's through their IEP.
Okay. And then going forward, and this goes for, I guess, Mr. Foucher and Mr. Dunham, Mr. Carpenter, I guess, we got to move all of our employees off of Blue Cross somehow, some way, and put this out the contract somehow with GHRI, because a 14% increase and the money that they're looking for is ridiculous.
Well, understand, though, that we're self-funded, so it's driven by our claims experience. It's not, Blue Cross is only a third-party administrator, so our claims have been running about 7.5% per year. This year, our claims are up. I say collectively, claims are up because we're jointly rated with the town and school. So our experience is up, and that's true of the group as a whole. The group is contract is up with Blue Cross as a third-party administrator in June of 2011. So the plan is for the group, now we are merging with the trust, so the trust would plan as we would have to go out to bid to see if we get another carrier to be the third-party administrator. But it's all driven by the claims experience. Some members have gone up 19%, our increase is 14%. It's a very big increase, but it is what it is.
You know, one of the things that we're looking at that seems to be pretty interesting is finding a way to incentivize someone to be efficient in what they utilize out of the medical community. So once again, you know, talk to the fire department.
That's the fire department, okay.
Yeah.
And one last question on general state aid. You said there was a decrease from the approved budget last year of $177,000, which was $5 million minus the 177. I'm going to use round numbers.
The state education.
General aid from state, yes.
Yes, we're anticipating a 3% decrease. We haven't gotten that officially yet. That's what we're projecting.
Right, but you have a 13.23% decrease on general aid in your budget.
There are the $5,098,402 that was in the approved budget in 2009, 2010, the current year.
Correct.
Was actually reduced by the state and backfilled with almost $400,000 of stabilization money and ARA IDEA money. That change was never officially changed, so I left the budget the way it was. And so our actual general aid is about $4.6 million with $400,000 of stabilization is how we're tracking this budget. So it's different than was actually approved. So again, it's a combination of two numbers. It's the 674 minus and the 235 plus to get you the number.
All set.
I still am having trouble to get over the fact that you guys are asking for $1.2 million and that's over the cap. How do we figure this out?
It's not over the cap that we're required to submit. I mean, it's within the 4.5%
The
cap.
1.2 million is a 4.5% increase in the town's contribution to the schools, which is within the cap. The problem is the lost revenues are driving us over the cap.
Right. So if we give them the $1.2 million, are we over the cap?
Because of the loss in revenues, yes.
Okay. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we level fund the school department in the amount of $28,074,331 from the 09-10 budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second the discussion.
The discussion. Susan?
Excuse me, Mr. President. Did you say tentatively approve?
Tentatively approved, tentatively approved.
Caught you on that one, Dennis. Where were you?
I'm sorry, what
Yep.
was?
I was floored by the motion, I'm sorry.
It's a
I'm sorry,
ten,
I didn't understand.
it's a tentative approval.
First round.
What is the implications of this in the first round? They have to come back for the provisional with essentially a $900,000 reduction in what they're asking?
Well, right
Is
now,
that
if
what-
we give
is
them
that-
$1.2 million, we're over the cap, Jim, so we gotta figure something out.
You know, there's other decisions that have to be made. Is
Or
that-
we're
is
at
that-
the cap, and I don't think we should, I don't think we can go to the cap, so we're gonna have to meet in the middle somewhere and figure something out, yes.
Well, I don't agree with any of that. I mean, I want to.
You don't have to vote for it.
So we are talking about an $896,000 reduction in the school's request?
No, 1.263.
Oh, I'm sorry.
reduction.
Go to the town appropriation.
You know, it's nice just to think that, we just can't go over the cap. I mean, in an ideal world, that's great. But there are contractual obligations that have to be met. And with a level funding, you can't meet those contractual obligations.
There are children's expectations
I mean,
for an education that have to be met.
there's no thought given behind this, Mr. President.
What's your rationale for doing this?
My rationale is, I guess I'll be the lone speaker for the taxpayer of the town. I
don't
guess
think
I'll be
so.
that lonely voice in the wind.
You can paint yourself there, but I don't think that's true.
Okay,
either.
I'll paint myself there. I
Okay.
have no problem
You want to talk about the
telling
elephant in the
exactly
room?
how I
think
feel.
The elephant in the room is the education of our children.
One at a-
Education in the
one
room
at-
That's
is
a mission
maybe
critical
80%
requirement.
for contracts with between salaries and benefits. That's the elephant in the room, the 80% we pay.
Right, and I understand it, but there are contracts, there are obligations we have to meet. Because unfortunately, the school department is salary-driven. Their budget is salary for the most part. But there are contractual obligations we have to meet, and at a level funding, we can't meet those contractual obligations. That's what I'm trying to say, Jeff.
It's tentatively approved. We just did it the whole other night when I tentatively approved budgets going up 6%, 5%, and what did you two sit over there and say, this is just
Now,
tentatively
whoa,
approved.
wait a minute.
We're just gonna come
Wait a
back here
minute.
and go again.
Wait a minute.
This is tentatively approved.
You have to understand the implications of what you're doing. If we make a tentative approval, okay, for $1 million cut to their budget, they have to come back at the provisional budget and show us where those cuts are going to come from, okay? And I don't think they're out there. We're just going to send them through a drill, okay, that's going to force them to violate contracts, cut core programs, okay, and just cause all sort of mayhem in our educational system here. For what?
I don't think it is, Jim.
They have to come back and show us a budget
And we
based
can't
on what
afford the
we...
$1.2 million, Jim.
Let me
That's
show.
premature.
Let me just speak, let me speak.
So is your
between-
comments
Let me
then.
speak, one at a time, you know.
I mean, come
don't-
on.
What we're saying, this is of tentative approval. I think I spoke before about the contract that you're negotiating with the union employees. So if this passes, the union has to pay attention to what's going on in this room tonight. Whether you can come up with that kind of savings, maybe you can come up, all right, you're shaking your head, Mr. Carpenter. Okay, but maybe you can't come up with the 1.2, but you can come up with another 400,000. I don't know what you can come up with, but what we have a motion, and I just want to jump in because to slow down the talk between each person.
Let's just vote.
All I ask the council is, one at a time speak, but that's my position on it. My position is, you take back whatever the vote is, you look at what you can do. Mr. Johnson's writing away. It depends what kind of headline they decide to give to that, but maybe the union will pay attention to it, because everybody has to bite the bullet. And I agree with you, Jim, that we have a great education system, but maybe we have to look at how we can save some